Chip, part of this, as part of our community, it's a lot of support and coaching, right? I mean, that's really what we're here for. And so most of the members, I think, here get at least one critique a month of either a couple stories they want to submit or a reel. And we bring in producers and reporters from top 10 markets. Those are our coaches, and they give these really thorough, critiques, right? Things that like you're probably doing. And you can probably test this. I always encourage people, sometimes they forget to submit it or, something happens. I just say, keep getting feedback. It is so valuable, especially from people that are, in the bigger markets and have been there, can only provide you with mentorship support, but maybe, you're not thinking of something that you should be doing in a day-to-day.
Well, and face-to-face is really important too. I mean, so you're right. I mean, get critiques. What you're doing as a service might be a very detailed critique, and I might, if I'm able to do one, give you 4 sentences back.
Right.
I think the relevant 4 sentences, but that's basically a function of time.
Right.
But think about your other opportunities. Why RTDNA is so important, or other organizations, is the opportunity to meet people face to face. If it's a big investment to go to a regional or to a national conference. It's a big investment out of your pocketbook or out of your time. But think about how this is. I will tell you, RTDNA has been an important part of my growth and networking over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
I started early. I've met a lot of people. I've been involved in the organization, whether it's a local SPJ or a NATIS ME chapter or online news association or RTDNA, whatever it is, get connected. If you go to the RTDNA Excellence in Journalism National Convention this year, it's September in Anaheim. Again, not a cheap trip for some of you, but if you go there and you invest your 3 days there, you can get tape critiques from a dozen quality people and shake their hands. Every major company will have some sort of recruiting people there, and they will spend time with you to give you a critique. They will give you their business card. You'll make a personal connection if you spend time at the receptions. You never know whose hand you'll shake. Who might lead, having going to a group dinner and having, just again getting to spend, an hour sitting next to somebody you want to follow or emulate or learn from, or maybe can get you connected to either what they do or where they go. Yeah. But those personal relationships are really, really important to, if again, someone who I've met and had a relationship with 3 or 4 years, text me or email me, they're getting a call or email back right away. They're my friends, right?
Right.
So, and they're someone who I've already decided I want to invest in, maybe because they've already invested in me in something.
Valerie took her reel. We worked with her in LA and went to a conference and got a job.
Yeah. So we went to the NHA and NABJ conference in DC.
Yeah.
Yeah. That last conference last year was amazing.
It was great.
That's one I've never been to. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good experience. To kind of just, the first time that I actually got, feedback from several different, news directors, and everyone told me something different, so.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly where you can go, and you probably got a lot of business cards. Every major company had a booth. I don't know if you came by our Scripps booth, but we had like a really big one right by the registration desk, and we had 15 people there over the period of 3 or 4 days, rotating around those tables, interviewing what turned out to be probably 150 to 200 different candidates. And so our company will be at NABJ this year. NAHJ is part of EIJ in Anaheim, and that's always, even when those two groups are together, it's a powerful conference. NABJ is in, I believe, in New Orleans. The Asian American Journalists Association, I want to say, is in the East Coast this year. I don't have those all remembered, but you go there, and almost all of them, the recruiting is a very aggressive game right now. And if you go there and you make friends at these tables and grab a business card, if you met someone and they gave you a 15-minute critique, send a thank you note, either by email or handwritten. It will always pay off in terms of having that person you might remember them later on. So.
And I have a question.
Hi, Chip. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I just wanted to introduce myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I had WTAP in West Virginia for 2 years. And then after that, I came back to the New York area. And now I'm working for a digital outlet online TV called Hudson TV. And my whole goal is actually to get back into an affiliate. And I got an offer in Wyoming, but it was, it was like a bureau job and I think a 3-year contract, and everybody kind of said, you don't want that job, and the money was literally poverty level. The news director said to me, you would have to get another job while you're on this job. So I didn't take that job, and now I'm just trying to get back into an affiliate. And so I like your feedback, what you said to one of the last people about, what to do on your reel, or, how to approach a news director. And I'm just wondering at this point in my career, and with everything going so much more digital, is it better for me to stay digital or just keep trying to get back into an affiliate, or it doesn't really matter?
Well, it matters to you.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it does matter. Here's the deal. I mean, if you're able to do great work in a digital environment, not to knock broadcast, I've been in digital full-time for 8 years. I've been in broadcast full-time for 20 plus. They both have great joys. It really depends on what you want to do.
Okay.
You really love the kind of the broadcast, the demand around a newscast where you're having a show that you got to hit. If you like anchoring, the things that television news still does very well, then go after that. But I mean, if you're thinking about what you get to do on a digital outlet, when digital can incorporate video and interactivity and great text and still photography, it really goes back to what do you want to do,
right?
And then who will hire you to do what you really want to do. But if you're not starting from where your passion is, you probably won't get as far if you don't really have that figured out at the beginning. And even if you're okay with 4 different outcomes, but this kind of goes right into the other part about winning a job, and that's the word winning. When I've told you I have 3 jobs open right now.
Right.
I've got 100 plus easy to find candidates who've applied. Forget the ones I might actually be tracking or want to bring in myself.
Right.
But most in most every job search, there's one position open, and second place is a loser, and it's kind of hard. But I mean, I've only got one job, and everyone else, I'm sorry, I don't have a job for.
Right.
So that's what you're doing, and so that's why I can say be better than everyone else. It's kind of obvious, but what is that to the hiring manager? Well, that means knowing what the brand is for the station. You got to do a lot of homework sometimes, going out and investing in personal relationships. So if you meet somebody, you've got to it's easier to find, and then knowing how connections are made. I mean, again, if you're already in New York, that's great. I mean, there's so many more connections in New York than there would be anywhere else.
Right.
And knocking on doors when you need to, or using one friend in New York to introduce you to some other friend. One thing that kind of goes hand in hand with this that most journalists don't tap into is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is an enormously powerful tool that journalists as a whole underuse.
Okay.
You have to use it for their journalism. If you really need an expert in a particular topic for a story that you're trying to turn in 2 hours, LinkedIn's a great place to find someone in your community or someone you could Skype with who could readily give you information about a complex topic that you otherwise might not understand. It also can connect you with people. Every major television company these days, every one of them has professional recruiters. That wasn't the case 7 or 8 years ago. Now it is the case. So you learn who are the recruiters. And once you've got a beat on who a recruiter is, you can look on LinkedIn and you can type in Scripps and recruiter, or Scripps and recruit, and you'll find the names we have a 16-person recruiting staff at our company. Not all of them do news. A lot of them do sales and technology and some other skills. But we've got a lot of people who do recruiting, and it's not, and they're all on LinkedIn. And all be easily found on LinkedIn. So you start making connections that way. You do the same thing with Tegna. You do the same thing with Nexstar. You do the same thing with, name a company. Recruiting's become a very aggressive business, but we're all going after the same top people, and that's what makes it competitive for us.
Okay.
And Jillian, just so you know, those recruiters are part of the Job Catalyst program, and they do sometimes talk back. So just look out for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I have one question. So one of my questions that I have is, in my situation, I'm both a reporter, MMJ, and a producer as well. I'm the weekend producer, and it was my first time producing in this new job, and I really love it. However, moving on forward, when it's time for me to look for my second job, I'm kind of torn between, do I want to produce or do just MMJ, or just combining those positions again? Because if I had the chance to do both MMJ and produce at my next job, that's something that I feel I'd rather take that opportunity so I can do both and continue learning. But I don't know how much harder that might be to find both a MMJ/producing job after this one.
Well, I think the more you grow in this business, the more you'll have the opportunity to specialize. I have talked to, I made an offer to one really good reporting candidate this year. I didn't get her. But I loved the fact that she could produce, and she actually liked producing. It wasn't the job I was going to put her in, and I wasn't going to have her week. My market's big enough. I have plenty of people to do that. But the fact is, it was a skill of hers. Made me think more of her as a candidate. And I wasn't going to have her produce. The fact that she could step in and provide, that make her a better journalist. And because she did do some anchor.
Is somebody typing? Sorry.
Yeah, I hear that, and it's distracting.
Sorry, somebody's typing. Just for we'll end the call in 5 minutes. Just keep going. Sorry, it was just a little distracting. Keep going. Thank you.
I just put on the chat here the story we produced last night.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, good.
I'll be there for you guys to take a look at. That's our new anchor, our Kristen Hartman, who I thought weaved a very nice, elegant story on, maybe it wasn't a massive investment, but she probably spent a couple of days on it.
Was she a reporter before anchoring, or what?
She's been an anchor for a long time. We got her from Columbus, where
cool.
She was anchor at WBNS. Before that, she was a reporter in Chicago. She's done this for 25 years.
That's great.
Is a terrific talent.
This is a good resource for you guys. I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Sorry, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but if you were answering Valerie's question, which I think was the hybrid role.
It's a great skill to have. I think at some point specialization will help you between those two roles, but it doesn't mean that a news director right now wouldn't say, "Hey, you're good at both, and I'll bring you in for this kind of role." I might need somebody to do that, but you'll typically find those roles established in smaller markets. I talked to an agent today about a woman who's in sports who I like a lot. I don't have a sports position for her, and she really doesn't want to do news. But I tell the agent, help me come up with something that'd be great for her that meets my needs. And I can craft a position. I've got 3 MMJ openings right now. Maybe I take one and do something different with it. I can do that with my money. But I've got to kind of make a case. If I do that, I might have to give up something else. Well, I'm always asking myself, what's going to help me win? What's going to help me be different? And I will often take someone who's an enormous talent or an emerging talent, someone who might have a leg up. This person happens to have a name in my town, a last name in my town, and I'd like to get this person in here if I could. But I don't want to find just a round peg in a square hole type situation. I've got to actually have a thing where I can actually recruit this person into the station saying, here's a job I want you to do. The other thing, too, is if you're doing 2 jobs, it's doubly hard to become really good at both of them. So it doesn't mean you can't succeed in the role that you're playing right now. You should continue doing your best at that. And it doesn't mean that you might not have a choice in the market you're in, because that's the role you're asked to play. That's what keeps you employed. But, it's going to be hard to develop great skills at both. You probably have heard this 1,000 times. If you want to produce, the market, can't get enough producers. And if you want to move up into a top 10 market, that's probably